Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to our cattle and crops review as we work through the missions. You might remember we completed mission number 1 in the previous episode. That was episode number 1, and we spread a slurry down to fulfill that mission. So we have a new mission available, and as you might remember, this is where we left off from the previous mission, was right here at the sewage plant. So we're going to hold down our control key. We're going to click on the new mission is available. Preparation is everything is this next mission. And we're going to be using our class Arian 530 and looks like a cultivator. So we're going to go ahead and start this. And it's going to create the mission content. I do have, I've got Fraps running along. If you're familiar with Fraps, you know that it's kind of a recording software. It also displays the frames per second, or FPS. So I've got that up there, and let me just see what I need to do here. I need to reset my my Logitech stuff here and return to the game. Alright, great. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into our class 530 tractor, and we are going to go ahead and let me just make sure everything is still working the way that it's supposed to, and it is. So here we go. So let me get rid of this here. I think that'll go away. So we need to drive to the main farm. Anyway, I wanted to once again thank Icelandic Farmer. Again, I've been sort of struggling getting the G27 tension, the G27 force feedback tension on my wheel reduced, and I had even talked about it in a previous episode here that I've been doing with cattle and crops. And so one thing that Icelandic Farmer suggested that I try, and it's what he's having to do as well, because he's been unable to get it to basically loosen the tension on the wheel itself, and it's very tight. So the first episode, the first mission that I recorded, mission number 1, episode number 1, the wheel's very tight. But anyway, he suggested, and it actually worked, is just load up FarmSim 17 first, and you know, however you have your force feedback settings and the tension on your wheel and everything set in FarmSim 17, then it will it'll just keep that same setting whenever you boot up cattle and crops. So that's what I did, and I've got a nice smooth wheel movement now, very similar to how it's set up in FarmSim 17. So unfortunately, you know, I still have to boot up FarmSim 17 to get my wheel to work for cattle and crops, but that's okay, because actually I spent some time this morning playing FarmSim 17. I'm recording this episode on January the 1st, 2018. So happy New Year's to each and every one of you all that's watching this. You guys are going to probably see this video a lot sooner than you're going to see some of the other, I think it's this way, yep, probably a lot sooner than you're going to see some of the other videos that I have recorded over the 10 days that I was off between Christmas and New Year. But in any event, I hope that you enjoy all of my content. I hope you enjoy the content that I put on the channel, and I am really excited to bring it to you, and really excited to bring cattle and crops to you, because I've got to say, I've got to admit that I've got to change my opinions about this game, and change them considerably. So okay, so we need to find the cultivator. Now I know where the cultivator is, because I have already been sort of okay, there we go. I can't use the same controls, or can't use that shuttle control in FarmSim 17 that I enjoy so much, so I have to remember which game I'm in here. But anyway, let's go ahead and oh, can't get over that hump, don't want to run over the cat. So let's just squeeze in here as best as possible. Hang on, let me stop for a moment and let me I'm telling you, I really hate this combined pedal thing where it wants me to use my brake pedal as reverse. I'm hoping that this is something that either somebody can provide a suggestion to sooner, certainly rather than later, because I've got to say that, let me turn my camera around here, I've got to say that I'm pretty much over having to basically use the brake pedal as reverse. I would much rather be able to change the gear or something. And I know that we can change gears. Again, I don't want to run over the cat. I know that we can change gears. I've just not found a way to be able to do it where it actually where my brake pedal just becomes a brake. So in other words, if I press on the brake pedal, the tractor just absolutely stops and does not move backwards. The way that what I have experimented with, anytime that I touch the brake pedal, it does slow the tractor down. It will stop the tractor, but then eventually the tractor will start rolling backwards or start driving backwards. So that's just part of that. So anyway, we're headed over to field number 13. And you might remember I made a comment in episode number, we turned the wrong way. Again, it's that stupid GPS thing that doesn't center itself or keep it facing always north. So I'm hoping that that is something that gets changed sooner rather than later, because that's just going to drive me around the bend, I believe. But anyway, I had mentioned in my previous episode, I think that I did about something or another. I've already forgotten what I was going to say, so my apologies. Turning the wrong way got me a bit flustered. Okay, so cultivation. We're going to cultivate the field. So let's get out of our view here and back things up just a little bit. Let's back up the tractor and get all lined up here. And then again, as I pointed out in the previous episode, pretty much all of the now this is something that I have noticed that is a little bit odd. So I'm going to lift the cultivator and I'm going to back my my tractor up here just a moment. So I know in a perfect world, in the real world, I would not drop my cultivator this far back from the field. But the way I would envision this is, this field we own. Obviously we own this field. It's part of this mission thing. But I would consider that we also own this patch of grass right next to the street. We also own this little patch of grass that's behind the field. But yet, if we lower our cultivator and we start driving forward, we're going to basically say, well, you can't work on this field. So again, I realize in the real world you wouldn't drop your cultivator down there in the grass like that. You would only want to cultivate the portion of the field that you want to cultivate. So I acknowledge that I did something that you wouldn't do in the real world, but still I wanted to point that out to you. In Farm Sim 17, basically, you can drop the implement in the grass area if you want to, or if you're not so quick in picking it up, like I'm going to do right here, you don't get the error. It basically just tells you that, or it basically just doesn't do anything at all, obviously, because it's not the actual defined field. But if we come up and if we do things the way that we're supposed to, and come up and drop it, we're still just a little bit in the grass there. But anyway, that's what happens. So maybe they'll loosen that up just a little bit. While I appreciate playing simulation-based games, I love the immersion, I love the realism. I've tried to do things as realistic as I know how to do them and as the game allows me to do them. That's sort of the fine print, is that first of all, I need to understand how these things are done, but B, I know that there are some limitations in the game itself that kind of prevent us from doing things maybe exactly the way that they would be done in the real world. Of course, I know that I can always put a headland on these fields as well, which would greatly help out as well. But anyway, I appreciate all these things, and I've got to say that I think that Cattle and Crops, if they continue to develop this game the way that they have put this together, then I think it's going to be a lot more immersive and maybe a lot more, dare I say, study level than what we currently may have in Farm, or what we currently have in FarmSim 17, minus mods. Okay, so kind of what I've seen with cattle and crops without mods, without any mods added to the game itself, is a little more realistic. There's seasons here in the game. There are, different elements that we only can enjoy if we add mods to FarmSim 17 that the cattle and crops developers have put into the game. So that's kind of cool. Let's see if we can turn on some lights here, at least be able to see in front of us a little bit better. The mission does have us basically working a little bit at nighttime. Let's go ahead and put a headland down here on this end here. Like that. And put us another one in here. And I'm going to try my best not to, continue to gripe about the same stuff over and over and over. Clearly it's pretty important to me that. Come on, lift my cultivator up there. It's pretty important to me to have the controls and everything working much better than what we have, or what I'm seeing that we have available. And so I'm hoping that they do continue to do that. I understand that they probably see that they have a pretty high mountain to climb as far as getting some of the other bugs and some of the other things working with cattle and crops. But if any of the developers are listening, if any of the developers are within the sound of my voice, please don't stop making adjustments and fixes and enhancements and everything to accommodate controls, better selection of controls. Please don't stop, because I think I would like to be able to see that the controls are working well as the game continues to be enhanced, as more features are added to the game, as more equipment is added to the game. And I understand that there's a lot of people that would probably argue with me on that, and would probably say, well, cattle and crops can do, they can do the controller stuff, they can set all that stuff up later down the road. Let's get to a point to where that we can do more things. And while I can understand that, because obviously we all want to be able to do more with this game than what we might be able to do in this particular stage, at the same time, they need to make sure that they continue to sort of move the chains evenly as they continue to release enhancements to the game, new equipment, new tasks that you can do. Let's also make sure that we're fixing some of these other things, like controllers, for example. So I will just bring your attention to the upper left-hand corner. That's Fraps providing me with the frame count, and it's running at 40 to 50 or so FPS. Now, I actually don't think that's too bad of a frame rate, considering that this is still in development, considering it's still in early access and all that kind of stuff. Seeing 40 to 50 FPS, I think that's fine where the game is at the current moment. But also remember, folks, I don't get hung up on frames per second. I really don't, because I have spent a long time playing games such as Flight Sim, where your FPS would be, you would be celebrating if you could get 20 FPS on a regular basis with, say, for example, a payware type aircraft like the PMDG, whatever, and ground, and enhanced ground textures and certain enhanced airports, etc. So I'm okay if this is where it is for now. Hopefully they can continue to optimize the game and make things a little bit better, but also keep in mind that we are it's nighttime, and most games FPS does struggle in nighttime versus daytime. I don't know why it is. I'm not a software developer, so I'm not sure why that occurs that way, but it does. And the same thing I can say that in Flight Sim, frames are a lot better in daytime. Same with like ATS and ETS2. I have much better frame rates, average frame rates and everything in daytime hours when everything is well lit than I do in nighttime or poorly lit kind of conditions. Again, I don't know why that is. Okay, so we have satisfied the requirements for cultivating this field. So this is pretty much going to wrap up this particular episode, because again, I'm doing just kind of one mission per episode. So we're going to drive back to the main farm and drop off the cultivator, more than likely. That will be part of the whole mission thing, and then end the episode. So let's see, are we turning? Nope, going this way. Again, it's that GPS thing, folks. I'm gonna struggle with that because it doesn't seem logical to me. And again, I can't imagine why the game developers thought that they could just stop there with it. Why don't they go ahead and make it like other things? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we'll lower that and try not to make sure that we lower it on the cat. And let's shut off the lights. And then we need to go in the house again to complete our mission. So this is our little house over here. And I haven't looked inside of it very much, but we're going to go in the house now. It looks like we're in the house, and we're going to sleep for 8 hours. So we've got some sleep elements in here. If we can get through. Mission complete. Well, let's see. Okay, sleep. Control. Okay, not really sure why he's still running there, but we will go ahead and do a sleep for 8 hours, which is what the mission said, and we're sleeping, and there we go. All right, well, thank you all so much for watching this episode. We will come back for another episode. Looks like we might do some more cultivating. I don't know. I've actually not done this mission yet in my other profile, so I will do that and then do a recording on it and let you all know how I'm getting on. So thank you for watching, and tune back again for another episode, either Farm Sim 17 or another preview episode of Cattle and Crops. And until next time, thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.